Problem statement introduction includes how there's low water intake in Latino and youth community. There are gaps in convenient hydration access, and how dehydration is linked to mental health issues. And so also there's the idea that education for hydration is also an issue. And here are 7 different studies. So a key point involves dehydration impacts brain changes, dehydration impacts mood, dehydration impacts cognition, and dehydration impacts energy. Also, the studies have shown that Latinos and youth face hydration disparities. The studies show that rehydration improves mood. Also, they show that water access is key to hydration. All of the studies I show here, I have asterisks color-coded and everything. Next, I have the need of the proposal, which is to evaluate hydration education efficacy, to measure hydration messaging resonance. Like, is this education even resonating and getting people to drink more water? People don't really dispute drinking water. It's whether or not we can get them to actually drink it at the end of the day. Now, identifying dehydration community impact is to recognize the dehydration impact on the mental health of the community. Also, there's a need to strengthen hydration public health programs to study consistent and long-term outcomes, not just helping them now, but helping them in the long run. Some 3 hypotheses that could be given examples are hypothesis 1, which is that educated participants will improve hydration outcomes. This might come from an example of a self-reported water logging, of having them log how much water they're drinking. Also, hypothesis 2 might be rehydrated participants will report improved mood and cognition. That might come from an example of mood scales. Also, hypothesis 3 involves educated participants will retain hydration improvements after 1 month. Also, there might be follow-up surveys and interviews to better understand the hypothesis that the educated participants will persist in their habits beyond 1 month. That might come with assumptions that might not go as we want them to go. So some identified issues might be an assumption of participants will answer correctly. Well, some might lie and some might misremember. Some of it might be where they're phony answers, and some of them might be they just can't think straight because they're dehydrated. Also, participants available for follow-up. That's an assumption where they might fail to show up to follow up. They might decline to respond. It just might be a no-show, no call. And so there's no more follow-ups for that. Another assumption is hydration education delivered consistently, where people might gain various external education from various sources, such as TikTok, such as their friends. One way to get around that is to just directly ask them in a survey, have they received education from other places? Yes or no? Or maybe have it open-ended. Where else are they receiving education from? Maybe they're receiving education from places that we can add into the program. Next up is the research methods. The population would be Southern Californians, children, youth, adults. The H2O Claro program participants, those are great people to pull from, which would come from recruited from the community partners like the H2O Claro program did last time, which would be the Homeboy Industries, the LA Galaxy Foundation, and possibly the family members of those community partners, trying to ask those people, do they know people that might want to join this program? Maybe they want to get more hydrated. The more people that know about this program, the more people might want to participate, part of these sports teams. Maybe there's a good outcome for this sports team, so other sports teams will say, hey, we want this program also. We want to study how to rehydrate ourselves too. And they might be a different culture than the Spanish culture or the Latino culture. They might have a completely different way of being educated. So procedures might involve initial hydration and mood surveys. Also, culturally tailored educational workshops where knowing that each culture is different on what they respond to. Also, a post-workshop narrative interview to better understand what went well, what do they think we could have done better, what we can do more of. Maybe there's some things that they help us understand that we can do better, that we can include for the next time. Also, monthly or bi-monthly follow-ups as a procedure to better understand, are they getting better over time? Let's retake the values to say, okay, did they improve baseline? Did they improve from last month? Also, when they finish the program, are they still getting better after the program? Maybe they're getting worse out of the program. Maybe they're getting better. Maybe there's no change, if at all. Now, some instruments might be the hydration log, which involves cups or bottles per day. It might be self-reported. Also, mood scores might involve asking for energy, focus, well-being, a simple 1 to 10 scale survey on how are they feeling today, how much water are they drinking, how's their energy levels out of 10. Also, the qualitative interviews might involve bringing a focus group and asking them about ideas on how to appeal to them culturally speaking, how to ask them, can they talk to each other about what helps them, and maybe they can help each other. Some focus groups might involve people sharing their own ideas of how to improve themselves. Open-ended questions can get more ideas of maybe there's new persuasive narratives that can reach people. So hypothesis 1 in a data analysis, as a reminder, it was the one related to education improving hydration outcomes. That one can involve an analysis of paired t-tests on pre and post hydration logs. That answers the question of, was the baseline hydration improved? Now for hypothesis 2 that deals with hydration improving mood scores, there can be an ANOVA on mood scores. There's the question of, was their mood improvement over time? Maybe there was movement improvement over time. So to analyze the differences between different hydration statuses, maybe a person is hydrated in the beginning and then next week they're not as hydrated and so their mood is changing. There's some people that are consistent in their hydration versus people that are inconsistent versus people that are not doing hydration at all. So there's many different levels of how hydrated a person might be week to week, month to month, and seeing how do those scores compare to each other. Also, hypothesis 3 is that over that period of time, longitudinal trend analysis, monthly follow-ups, you see, okay, this person used to be doing very, very well. They changed. What happened? To compare the persuasive themes of what persuaded this person to keep going. Maybe they learned something that really got through to them that can help other people on the same exact theme. And how long is their improvement for? Maybe their improvement only lasted a month. Well, that might be a good education to keep reinforcing, but the goal is to possibly try to have it be much more impactful rather than just for now, but over the long term. Potential results include positive possible outcomes such as improved participation, hydration, and mood, a sustained hydration habit over 1, 3, 6 months, even after the education. There also can be an enhanced educational effectiveness. So after this program, there might be a better educational program that we've learned to use. Also, there might be empowered culture and community. There also could be a possible negatives. Maybe people don't really want to show up as much. There's lacking follow-up participation. Maybe there's insignificant outcomes. Now, if there's insignificant outcomes, that might mean funding waste. All this work for nothing. Also, there might be a failure in cultural messaging, which might not look good in the press. Maybe the media starts reporting, wow, we were very insensitive because the cultural messaging was off. So that has to be done right with good focus groups. Next up is stakeholder relevance. So it's all about improving the public health messaging for the program. So if the program is improving the public health, that's really good for stakeholders. Anybody that's involved in the program that wants to support and give more money to the program, they go, wow, this is really good public health messaging. Also, it's messaging for assisting disadvantaged communities. A lot of stakeholders might be interested in having underserved and disadvantaged communities being supported and thriving more. So that way they can be more engaged with the community and other programs. It also gathers data for future health campaigns. So another campaign might be benefited from this. There can be future ones, not just with the Latino culture, but other cultures and other programs, maybe other sports teams want to use this data. Also, there's a gain in persuasive narrative theme data. So for example, this program will study persuasive themes and improve understanding of how to persuade a patient to drink more water. There's not very much dispute about dehydration being bad for most people, but the question is, how does a provider convince their patient to effectively drink more water at the end of the day? References part 1 of 2 involves Armstrong et al. 2012 that involves mild dehydration affecting mood. Barrett et al. 2017 that had to deal with promotional campaign understanding. Also that talked about the Latino and their culture and what helps with them. That's that study. Kenny et al. 2015. This study talks about disparities in the children, in the genders, in the race ethnicities, specifically with inadequate hydration. Also, Prost 2017, this one discusses brain functioning issues with dehydration. References part 2 of 2 is Su et al. 2021. This one gets a lot more deeper into the science behind cellular dehydration, and this PowerPoint does not have enough time to get all into all the different types of lab draws and the urination analyses and all that can be workshopped later on. Now, Zhang et al. 2019, that had to deal with how rehydration, not just dehydration, can improve performance and mood among students. Thank you for joining me. I hope that everybody can drink up to power up.